Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching The Political Vigilante. I've been talking about this about a week or so ago. There was a tracker saying we have over 175 strikes related to COVID-19 around the United States. That number is now over 200. Most recently, in Washington State, this is according to the World Socialist website, hundreds of workers walk out at 6 fruit packing plants in Washington State. This happened May 16th. So, again, this is what I'm talking about. Workers now have more leverage than ever. And with this pandemic, so there's a lot of debate. Should we open society back up? Should we not? I don't know. I'm sort of on the fence with that, me personally. But when I see workers that are essential workers in food industry, meat packing, shipping, and they're forced to work in conditions that here's what we know about COVID. Indoors and around people, it's more infectious, right? And people are starting to test positive. I mean, this is why they went on strike last month at that Amazon plant. We've talked about Chris Smalls. He started to organize a strike. Jeff Bezos fired him. The vice president of Amazon stepped down and said it was a chicken shit move. We've talked about May 1st, there was all these strikes nationwide. We've talked about McDonald's workers going on strike here in Los Angeles and all over the country. We've talked about this all the time. And now, fruit packing plants in Washington State. Last Friday, the first group of workers walked out at Allen Brothers Fruit Company after 12 workers tested positive for the virus. So this is a common theme. I did a video on the meat packers. They're packed into a factory and the company's not doing enough. They're not giving them enough PPE. They're not wiping stuff down. They're just like, oh, go work. And of course, the owners are home making money. Management's up safe in an office, but the workers are on the floor and they're not making great money and they're not even getting hazard pay, of course. This is hazard pay. I mean, we've seen it. Amazon workers have died. Meatpacking workers have died. And listen to this. So this is in Yakima Valley in Washington State. It has the highest number of COVID-19 cases relative to its population out of any county in Washington State, with 1 case per 123 people. The workers' action at Allen Brothers triggered a successive string of walkouts at nearby facilities. Matson Fruit, Jack Frost Fruit, Monson Fruit, and most recently Columbia Reach and Madden Fruit. This is what I've been talking about. It takes some guts. I'm not saying this is easy. I don't know what it's like to work in a factory and need that paycheck. And like, if I go on strike, I don't know what that's like. I've gone on strike as an actor in my union. I joined the writers' strike. That was 10 years ago, and those affected my business. So I understand striking, but I'm not saying this is easy or, oh, if you don't do it, man, you're a baby. I'm not saying that. This is not easy, this type of strike. But I give these people so much credit, and I'm pointing out to you, look what happens when it does, because some of you have reached out to me and said, Graham, I work in a school system, I work in a grocery store, I work in a whatever, what do I do? This is one of the things you do. And there's walkouts happening all over the world. Oh yeah. Yakima agriculture workers join walkouts by meat packers in Crete, Nebraska. I've talked about meat packing. Industry was already not treating its workers well. Already health violations, unsafe, unsanitary. Before pandemic, only got worse with COVID-19. There was a woman, 54, 55 years old, meat packer, died. So there's meat packers in Crete, Nebraska, garment workers at an American apparel factory in Selma, Alabama, workers at a trash hauling company in New Orleans, Louisiana. These are all essential businesses, correct? And you're forcing these people, and they're making $10, $12, $13, $14 an hour, maybe 13. We talked about the meat packers making $13 an hour. Also, it's not just the States, because this pandemic is global, correct? Maquiladora workers, I don't know what that is in Mexico, call center workers in Brazil, and numerous struggles erupting around the world against the dangerous conditions imposed by corporations and governments during the COVID-19 pandemic. So if you don't have an essential business, you're told you stay home. And you know, as I've said, I've applied for unemployment twice, the end of March and May 1st. The first time in March, they told me you don't qualify. The second time, the second round is for people that are self-employed because I'm a comedian. I lost all these road dates because of the pandemic. Okay. I'm self-employed as a stand-up comic, right? I work for each one of these individual venues. And I applied May 1st. They said, here's your confirmation number. You will get all this information in the mail no later than May 11th. It's a week later. I've got nothing. And that's happened to millions of other people. I've gotten $1,200 and I got $1,000 from the SBA. That's it, man. That is it. And I got nothing. So if I was working in an essential business, I mean, what if they said, and I was working for a grocery store or something. I said, Graham, you got to go do stand-up comedy in front of big crowds of people. I'd be like, really? But we're not going to give you any distancing. We're not going to give the audience masks. You got to tell these jokes, though. You have to. And if you don't, you lose your health insurance. You lose it. Well, that would just be like, what do you do? You're not going to get any help from the government. The government doesn't give a shit. They're not helping anybody. Nancy Pelosi's eating ice cream rather than giving you Medicare for all and $2,000 a month UBI. This new stimulus bill that they're trying to unfold, they just killed, led by Pelosi, they just killed $2,000 UBI. So they tell you to stay home and not work, and they don't give you any money or support for it. They don't give you any health insurance. They say, now if you got to get treated for COVID, you don't have to pay for it. But what about anything else? What's starting to happen because hospitals are only being used for COVID? People aren't getting treated like, I got a heart thing, or go get that checked out. Preventative care is not happening. I got an abscess tooth. That actually leads to a heart attack. All of this stuff. I got a lump here. I don't want to go to the hospital. Maybe that's cancer. Maybe you get it treated. So many cancers, if you're treated early, you can recover fine. So this whole system is broken. And then the essential workers, people in food and service and medical, they're telling you got to work. And they're putting you at risk. And they're not giving you the proper equipment to protect yourselves. They're not keeping the facility safe and clean. And then they're not giving people fucking hazard pay. But what they did in Washington State, let's get back to them. They are represented by Familias Unidas for La Justica, FUJ, which entered into negotiations with the Jack Frost firm yesterday. FUJ is a local farm worker union representing about 500 workers, which was launched in 2013 and affiliated with Washington State Labor Council, AFL-CIO, in 2015. I bring this up because I've said some of you are like, Graham, I work in a grocery store in a right-to-work state. They hate unions here. You have the opportunity now more than you will ever have. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. But reach out to the AFL-CIO and there might already be a union like this near you. Right? Because this union with 500 workers would love to increase that number because then it'll give that union more power. So unions want more members. And unions would love to crack in to get a toehold in a right-to-work state that's non-union. That's what I would do. Reach out. Somebody reached out to me and said, Graham, I live in New York and our teachers union, we're looking at, we don't have a teachers union. We're looking at, I don't know what to do. I've never organized a strike before. Now, neither have I. So what I said to the person is, hey, reach out to teachers unions that are in your area or in the neighboring state or whatever and say, this is where we're at and see what kind of help you can get from them. I don't know. I wish I had more like, this is how you organize a strike and get a union. I wish I knew that more. I don't. But this is my guess, and this is what I'm seeing other people doing. And that's why I'm relating everything to what just happened in Washington State, because a bunch of people getting together, that's a union. That's where you have power. That's where you have leverage and negotiating power. There's a lot of people who have tested positive here. I feel like I'm in danger, but I have to work. I have no choice. Can they get unemployment? Probably not. You know what I mean? Like, this is the rock and the hard place that they're jammed up in. I got to go to work, but I might die there. Striking workers are demanding a temporary hazard pay increase from $13.85 per hour to $15.80. They're just asking for $2 extra an hour. And of course, the company, if you read the whole article, and has some like, oh, we can't afford this. We're barely getting by. Oh, really? Barely getting by? Yeah, I'm sure. You're barely getting by? What are your CEOs making? What's the board of directors get? What were their pay bonuses? What's their insurance plan? What's their stock portfolio? Are they getting stock buybacks? What's their retirement look like? I bet you in there you could find that extra $2 an hour. Because let me tell you something about this industry of fruit packing plants in Washington State. Yakima County is the top county in Washington for crop and livestock production and is determined by researchers at Washington State University, generating roughly $1.65 billion in agricultural products annually. But you can't find an extra $2 an hour just to pay people to risk their lives to pack cans of fruit? Well, let me tell you something, owners of companies that don't want to take care of your employees. They're not going to take it anymore. That's why there's strike happening all over. And they're also finding creative ways to get their message across. Sometimes they're just like, I'm going to park my truck in a specific spot. Company decided to stop paying its drivers, so one of them parked his truck on the owner's Ferrari and left it there. There's the Ferrari, there's the truck. That's from Joshua for Congress. Huh. Something to think about, owners. Something to think about, billionaires. You fly around in your private jets, going from this $20 million home to that $20 million home. Somebody want to park an Amazon truck somewhere near one of Bezos's toys? He's going to be the first ever trillionaire? And you can't get health care at Amazon? That's offensive. That is offensive. So these people want $2 an hour in hazard pay and more protective equipment so they can pack fruit, which is an essential job because they're in the food production industry. This is an essential job in the middle of a pandemic. Give them their goddamn $2 an hour. Or somebody find the owner's Ferrari. That's all I'm saying. You're making Gotham great again by getting your news here and not the liars on corporate media. Corporate media doesn't talk about all these labor strikes because the big companies, Dole and all these other companies, Amazon, they all buy ad time. You see how that works? So they can't really go talk about and be on the side of striking workers. I can. Rockfin doesn't give a shit if I talk about driving a truck onto a goddamn Ferrari. Boom. Shave your knuckles for justice. Hey everybody, like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification button and the subscribe button, even if you've done it before, because they're unsubscribing, many of you, every day. Watch the ads all the way through. If you click skip ad, I don't get paid. Also, support us at patreon.com/GrahamElwood or rockfin.com/GrahamElwood. Rockfin.com is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. All my videos are on Rockfin ad-free. Thanks for watching.